And welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Junior Garcia, and here are some of the stories we have for you tonight. Holiday weekend marked by violence. DPNR to resolve high-risk status. And Parks and Recreation Commissioner talks sports camps. These stories and more up next on News Channel 8.
TV8 News is brought to you by Total Excellium. More protection, more miles. Total, you know where to turn.
In tonight's top story, what was supposed to be an extended holiday weekend of relaxation and reflection instead was overshadowed by a number of shootings that resulted in one man being shot and killed by police on St. Thomas. Melanie Rames has more.
Major crime detectives on St. Thomas are investigating a disturbance and two shootings that occurred recently. One male was shot in his leg during a scuffle with other individuals, and while investigating the case, police officers fatally wounded another male, identified as 23-year-old Obenson Antoine, who had a firearm in his possession. According to the preliminary report, on July 4th at about 10:24 a.m., police were dispatched to a disturbance involving several persons. Minutes later, dispatchers notified police that shots were fired in the same area. Police investigation revealed that members of Antoine's family confronted members of a towing company's family because Antoine's vehicle had been towed from the Red Hook Business District a few hours before. Antoine, his sister, and others went to retrieve the vehicle, and an altercation occurred between them and the towing company family. One person, who was later identified as Miguel Jerson, who accompanied Antoine, displayed a firearm. Family members of the towing company wrestled with Jerson. The firearm discharged and Jerson was shot in his leg. Antoine's group then returned to their vehicle and were departing the area when responding officers arrived. Police followed the vehicle and stopped it in the area of Cassie Hill. Officers ordered the occupants out of the vehicle. All four occupants exited the vehicle. However, officers reported that Antoine returned to the vehicle and was observed reaching for a firearm. Antoine was fatally shot after police ordered him to stop, and Antoine refused to comply. A 9mm Glock semi-automatic pistol was recovered from the vehicle. Police arrested several persons, including Antoine's sister, Nellie Antoine, Miguel Jerson, and Shamal Gabriel. They were charged with various violations, including unauthorized possession of a firearm, constructive possession of a firearm, third-degree assault, destruction of government property, trespassing, and disturbance of the peace. Jerson's bail was set at $75,000. Nellie Antoine's bail was set at $45,000. And Gabriel's bail was set at $35,000. The suspects failed to post bail, and they were turned over to the Bureau of Corrections pending their advisor rights hearing. Investigation into this case is assigned to the Major Crimes Unit, the Internal Affairs Bureau, and the Office of the Attorney General. Persons with information regarding this incident are asked to contact the VIPD Major Crimes Unit at 340-8449, the Internal Affairs Bureau at 774-2452. You can also call Emergency 911 or Crime Stoppers USVI.
In other crime news, police on St. Thomas are reporting another shooting in the island's Raffoon Hill neighborhood. The male victim told police that after leaving work on July 4th, he noticed he was being followed by a gray SUV. 33-year-old victim pulled over, but someone inside the SUV opened fire on him. The man was treated and released from Snyder Regional Medical Center with several gunshot wounds. Police are investigating the shooting. In another gun-involved incident, St. Thomas police arrested a man for illegal possession of a firearm and drug offenses. Melody Rames has the details.
Police on St. Thomas arrested 20-year-old Nked Morton, charging him with possession of an unlicensed firearm and possession of controlled substances. The items were in Morton's possession and inside his vehicle when they were confiscated, police said. The preliminary report filed by police reported that officers were conducting random traffic stops on July 4th just before 3 a.m. near Crosswinds Plaza in Estate Smith Bay when they encountered Morton, who was driving a red Jeep Laredo. Officers smelled a strong odor of marijuana emanating from the vehicle, and when Morton stepped out of the vehicle, officers noticed a firearm that was stuck in his waist. Officers confiscated the weapon, as well as several small plastic bags containing what was later tested to be marijuana and cocaine. Officers also confiscated cash from the vehicle. Morton was arrested, charged, and placed on a $60,000 bail pending his advisor rights hearing.
New tonight, Department of Planning and Natural Resource Commissioner Alicia Barnes recently announced actions taken by the department to resolve the high-risk financial status of its Division of Fish and Wildlife.
As a result of the audit findings back in, I believe, 2012, the department was designated, and the Division of Fish and Wildlife specifically was designated as a high-risk grantee because of some specific findings. We have worked collaboratively with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services in addressing the concerns that they had. We prepared what is known as corrective action plans, and I'm very pleased to announce that as a result of our efforts and the oversight and guidance from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, they have in fact advised us that that high-risk grantee designation will in fact be released. The department will be released from that designation in July 31st, 2014, so this month actually. Basically, they're noting, this is Mike Pissarelli, who is the Chief of Wildlife and Sports Fish Restoration, that if we continue at our current levels of performance, that the department will in fact be released from that high-risk designation. So I think it's good news because we can continue to move forward with fulfilling the mandate specific to the Division of Fish and Wildlife Services. It's important to note that nothing in this designation compromised the amount of grant funds that were awarded the territory. What it did is increase the level of procedures necessary to draw on those grant funds. But I'm pleased to announce that with the assistance of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services and their oversight and the diligent efforts of my staff, we're moving forward to get that specific designation released this month.
Stay with us. We have more news right after this.
This is News Channel 8. This is News Channel 8.
And now, here is Cynthia Graham with your nightly Caribbean report.
Thank you, Junior. A recent study conducted in 4 Caribbean countries has found that 30% of children aged 11 to 13 were overweight or obese, a senior official of the Pan American Health Organization said. Dr. Audrey Morris noted the consequences of overweight and obesity in children were serious, including breathing difficulties, hypertension, early signs of cardiovascular disease, insulin resistance, and psychological effects. She revealed that up to 80% of the children in the Caribbean study admitted to drinking a carbonated soda every day. Dr. Morris said what is needed in the Caribbean is a broad approach to reinforce messages of healthier eating and active living. The Caribbean countries that took part in the study were not disclosed. In a historic move, St. Kitts and Nevis recently opened an embassy in Cuba and has called on the United States to end its decades-old trade and economic ban against the only communist country in the Caribbean. St. Kitts Nevis Foreign Affairs Minister Patrice Nesbitt told delegates at the opening of the embassy that her country would continue to support the annual call on Washington to remove the ban placed on the island when Fidel Castro came to power 50 years ago. Cuba is our friend, and we shall continue to exploit all possible means of speaking on their behalf in the international community on this issue, Nesbitt said. And finally tonight, a major oil discovery has been made just off the coast of Trinidad. Trinidad's Ministry of Energy said Spanish-owned energy firm Repsol has discovered 40 million barrels of oil, which is already adding to the overall national production, according to Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine. The ministry said the discovery was the 5th in the last 2 years and comes after discoveries by Petrotrin, Trinity, and BP. There are currently 8 oil rigs working in the waters of Trinidad and Tobago, an increase of 7 rigs over the same period in 2010. Repsol operates 2 of the rigs. And this has been tonight's Caribbean Report. I'm Cynthia Graham. We'll be back here tomorrow to bring you more news and views from in and around the Caribbean. Back to you, Junior.
And thank you very much, Cynthia. A non-fatal boating accident happened off the shores of St. Thomas last Thursday. St. Croix Senator Kenneth Gittins issued this statement on the incident.
I am deeply saddened to learn of the boating accident off the shores of St. Thomas early this morning. Just this week, and I should really say just this month, the departments of police, the Department of Health, where the EMS is housed, and the Department of Planning and Natural Resources, which has a maritime enforcement entity, came before the Senate for budget hearings. One of the inquiries made of these entities were their preparedness or readiness for maritime incidents, especially in light of the St. John July 4th festivities. With the increased numbers of persons going back and forth from St. Thomas to St. John and vice versa, our emergency first responding agencies should be ready for these types of emergencies and eventualities. Absent these emergency situations, from a law enforcement and safety standpoint, these agencies should also be proactive in safeguarding our territory's shores, the people, and visitors alike. So I am truly disappointed that none of these entities were readily on hand to address this boat accident this morning. Thank God there were no fatalities reported. Also, thanks to those civilian volunteers who were on their own private boats that were able to act fast and respond to the aid of these individuals. I am in the process of making contact with the head of these agencies in hopes that there will be a contingency plan in place and a physical presence of these agencies during the remainder of the St. John festivities.
With summer in full swing, the Virgin Islands Division of Sports, Parks, and Recreation offers a host of activities to youngsters across the territory. Channel 8's Melanie Teetree caught up with Commissioners St. Clair Williams to file this report.
Summer vacations are created for fun in the sun, reading, traveling, and joining different sports activities. Today we have the pleasure of speaking to the Commissioner of Sports, Parks, and Recreation, Mr. St. Clair Williams. Good day, Mr. Williams.
Hi, good day. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. So I hear that you have different opportunities for children between the ages of 7 and 15.
Yeah, that is correct. We actually have been conducting sports camps throughout the territory. And actually this year we have a total of 13 camps on St. Thomas, St. Croix, and also St. John. And actually these are sports camps that are divided into different sports activity. So even here on St. Croix, we do have like 6 camps that are being conducted up at the DC Canigata ballpark. We have tennis, softball for girls, baseball for the guys. We also have basketball and also tennis that's taking place there, and also like volleyball and so forth. And then over at we're utilizing the Juanita Guardian Gym, where we also have basketball going on there. And then, of course, our biggie is actually at the Vincent Mason Pool, which is our marine sports sports camp.
Is there a cost associated with these camps?
Yeah, there is a cost, and I must say that under Department of Sports, Parks, and Recreation, we are actually the lowest. It's only $75, actually going for 4 weeks right now. Basically, we usually would have it for 6 weeks, but we had to reduce it based upon the school calendar that was occurring, as we didn't know what was going on. But it's actually very affordable, and we particularly try to keep it that way because we want the young people of this community, especially those who could ill afford it, to be able to be a part of our summer camp.
So what do you have coming up for the new school year as far as after-school programs, tutorial services, and so on?
Okay, well, we do have a number of after-school programs that we conduct throughout the school year. And this is also territorial-wide. Here in St. Croix, We do have our after-school program over at the DC Candy Gator Multipurpose Recreation Center. It is basically a tutorial and also after-school program. We also have one over in Grove Place, like the Isaac Boynes Recreation Center for the people in the middle of the island. And then also, we do have our swimming program that continues over the Vincent Mason Pool.
Is there a cost associated for the swimming program?
There is no cost at all for any of our after-school program because we certainly want the young people to have a venue where they can actually go to and also be able to provide them with something meaningful for after school.
What is the age groups for the after-school programs?
Well, we actually operate from 7 years up to 15 years.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Williams, for sharing this information with Channel 8 and the entire community. My name is Melanie Johannes Teachery, reporting for News Channel 8.
Stay with us. We have more news straight ahead.
This newscast has been sponsored by Mario's Virgin Crystal. Let us save you the hassle of lugging those jugs around. Purified bottled water conveniently delivered to your home or office. Also available in your favorite grocery store. Call 773-2810.
This is News Channel 8. This is News Channel 8.
And finally tonight, here is Stephen Coop Francis with highlights from this weekend's Men's Summer Basketball League Tournament in your Sports 411 update.
Thanks a lot, Junior. Well, there were two games that was played in the New Breed Basketball Association on Saturday. Well, Lakers defeated Jedi's 81-77. Well, the undefeated Lakers were led by a balanced attack. Robert Sanis led all scores with 16.6 rebounds. Emmanuel Chinzuku and Terrell Harris finished with 15 points and 14 points respectively. The Lakers, they had 6 players in double figures. Well, for Jedi's, they was led by Oswald Vigo. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Claude Abraham, he chipped in with 15 points and 5 rebounds. In the second game of the night, Legacy defeated Boysden 87-79. Legacy was led by the shooting star Carl Davis, who had finished with 19 points to go along with 4 assists and 4 rebounds. Sean Tutine finished with 12 points and 12 rebounds. Ryan Neltrap, he had 15 points and 8 rebounds. Boysden was led by Rashid Swanson with 14 points and 9 rebounds. Hey folks, let's check out the current standings in the league. In the East Division, the Kings are perfect. They're 4-0, followed by Lakers. They're also perfect. They're 4-0. Guidance is sporting a 2-1 record. Ujima is 1-2. Spartan is still looking for their first win. They are 0-3. In the Western Division, Hoyas is leading. They are 2-1. Legacy follow. They are 2-2. Boysden is also 2-2. Dreadies is 1-3, and Rockers is at the bottom where they are 0-4. Well, the action continue tonight. We have Boysden going up against Rockers in the first game, and in the second game we have the Kings taking on Ujima. Go and check it out. Moving along to the AA Baseball League, where we had the Titans defeating the Yankees 7-6 in a close one. Franklin Mercado, he got the win. Christopher Joseph, he got the loss. The top hitters for the Titans was Javier Velez. He went 3 for 5 with an RBI. For the Yankees was Javier Perez. He went 3 for 5 with an RBI. And Deshane Brown, he went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Well, folks, the action continue on Wednesday when the Yankees will be going up against the Vikings. That game starts at 7 p.m. That's a look at your Sports 411 update. I'm Stephen Coop Francis from News Channel 8. Back to you, Junior.
All right, thanks, Goof. Don't go anywhere. We have your weather coming up next.
Your weather coming up next. Your weather.
And here's a look at your local weather.
Tonight, isolated showers after midnight. Widespread haze before midnight. Mostly clear with a low around 76. East wind around 17 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 10%. Tuesday, isolated showers before 10 a.m. Sunny with a high near 91. Heat index values as high as 101. East-northeast wind around 17 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 10%. Tuesday night, scattered showers, mostly cloudy with a low around 76. East-northeast wind 15 to 17 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 40%. New precipitation amounts of less than 1/10 of an inch possible. Wednesday, scattered showers, mainly before noon. Mostly sunny with a high near 85. East-northeast wind around 16 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 40%. New precipitation amounts of less than 1/10 of an inch possible. And on Wednesday night, scattered showers, partly cloudy with a low around 76. East wind 17 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 30%. New precipitation amounts between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch possible. This is Cheryl Francis with your Channel 8 News Weather.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Do not forget to like us on Facebook at WSVI-CH8. Or you can also follow us on Twitter at WSVI TV News. Be sure to subscribe to Channel 8 on your YouTube at WSVI-TV News Channel 8. Watch us on your computer, plus use the free Dish Anywhere app to DVR us or see us anywhere in the world on your smartphone or tablet. I'm Junior Garcia, and World News is up next. Good night, Virgin Islands.
TV8 News was brought to you by Total Excellium. More protection, more miles. Total. You know where to turn.